Welcome to Book Time with Ryan. I am Ryan, and today I'll be talking about Daniel Kraus's Whalefall. See if I can get this without too much of a glare. Is that better? I love that cover. I just love that cover. And there are only teeth on the bottom jaw, which is accurate. This is a great book. This is an ARC, an advanced reader copy, which I was not sent. I asked for it a few times. I don't know how that works. So if anybody here is really involved in the book community and knows how to do that, let me know, because I asked a couple times. I submitted something on Daniel's website. I tweeted to Daniel. I tweeted to MTV Entertainment Books, which is the publisher. Daniel said he forwarded my information, and I don't know. Maybe I just never got it. Maybe it's because I only have 500 whatever subscribers. I don't know. But let me say that if there was ever a book that should be talked about on this channel, with the way this channel has developed, it is Whalefall. Clearly, because there's a giant sperm whale on the cover. And that's such a great thing for this channel because I love sperm whales. Here's a sperm whale tooth. A real one with 1940s scrimshaw on it, but it's a real tooth. It's heavy. It's awesome. I love this tooth. This was a birthday gift. I'm going to talk about this book in 3 ways, maybe 4 ways. I'm going to talk about this book as a fan of books. I'm going to talk about this book as a fan of sperm whales and whales in general. And I'm going to talk about this book as a dad. What is this book? Just a brief synopsis, I guess. This is a story of a boy, a 17-year-old boy named Jay, who lost his father to suicide. And Jay, through the last 1.5 to 2 years of his father's life, had left home, stayed at friends' houses, and ignored his father because his father was a bit of a dick. His father's name is Mitt, and Mitt definitely was a little too hard, I think, on Jay. But and that's certainly the way Jay remembers it. Jay has 2 sisters and a mother, and they seem to have a decent family. His father, Mitt, is about 5 years older than his mom, and just kind of goes from job to job. Can't keep a job. He's probably a little too open about his feelings, or maybe a little too verbal about them, but he's definitely got some strong feelings, and he doesn't hold them back, and that eventually gets him in trouble with different employers. And he takes some pretty shitty jobs, but a lot of his jobs involve diving, involve the water, involve getting back to nature, kind of. And at least for a while, he does okay, and then he does something wrong. And then it's on to the next one. He does okay with it, but it definitely registers with his kids, and probably his wife. And I think there is some kind of confidence issue with him too, because he doesn't earn enough money to really buy his own house or support his family fully. And I think maybe he's either of the generation or at least of the mind that he should be doing that. So Mitt dies of cancer and commits suicide when it's clear that he's not going to get better, and everything he loves is being taken away from him as far as being able to live life. A lot of people hold that against Jay, and Jay kind of holds that against himself. He doesn't realize it, but he is. So this book begins with Jay going down to this, I keep thinking it's Monterey, but it's, Monastery Bay. And he goes to Monastery Bay, which is also known as Mortuary Bay because it has really rough tide seas that kills a lot of people, and there's a lot of signs saying don't do this. And when he gets there, he sees that there are some cars from NOAA and from the Coast Guard, which is why I'm wearing this hat. And the Coast Guard in this book is known as the Dirty CGs. I get it. So, the goal here is for Jay to go out with a scuba gear, find the remains of his father so they have something to bury, and that people can understand that Jay is not a bad guy and he's giving closure to his family. And that he can go dive like the great Mitt, who in the area was known as this amazing diver. They're all gardeners, that's their last name. It's probably not the most rational thing to do. One, because of just what currents do to bodies, and especially this area. It seems like this area has a lot of currents, so the body's not going to be right where it falls in the water. But he's 17. What does he know? A lot. We find out he knows a lot. The way this book is structured is he starts out with 3,000 PSI for his scuba gear, for his tank, and we kind of alternate between different things that happen in Jay's past, things that kind of provide a little bit of insight, a little bit of background into Jay's situation, Jay's family situation. So we go back and forth between years and the PSI, which I think is amazing because it's hard to figure out. This entire book takes place in the current stuff, the stuff that we're reading about, takes place in 90 minutes. But it's really hard to decide how quickly these things are happening. And instead of giving us a time tick, he gives us a PSI tick. Daniel Kraus gives us a PSI tick. And that's great because the more worked up that Jay gets, the faster he's going to breathe, and the faster he's going to deplete oxygen in his tank. And that means that he's going to have less and less time, which is why he's told to breathe sleepy, to calm his breathing. So he's looking for at least a skull for his father, and he witnesses he's kind of on this wall dive off of, I think, Monterey, California, and he witnesses this giant squid, which he thinks is amazing, and he's about, I think, 70 or 90 feet down, but it drops. This is a wall, drops a mile deep or so, I think. So he sees this giant squid, and all of a sudden it becomes clear that this giant squid is not just much higher up in the water column than usual. It's being hunted by a sperm whale. And Jay is eaten accidentally by the sperm whale. And for the rest of the book, most of the 99% of the rest of the book, this is about Jay surviving inside a whale, a sperm whale. And what is very cool, so I knew that's what this was going to be about. But what's very cool about this book is it's much deeper than that. This is not just a kind of a thriller, how does a human survive in the belly of a whale? Hint, it's not pleasant. Stomach acids, even the muscles breaking down, the objects in the stomach and the digestive tract, it's pretty rough, especially if you're alive and you're human. So you will get from this a pretty clear indication that you don't want to be eaten by a sperm whale. I was already there. I also did not want to be eaten by a sperm whale, but this kind of drove it home. And what we find is that this is not just Jay by himself, but Jay hears his father's voice. A father that for a lot of his life he fought with, and a father who fought with him. I mean, they kind of had their battles. And Jay is figuring out that a lot of things Mitt taught Jay over the years are going to save him in this situation. Or at least will give him a fighting chance. And what develops is Mitt is basically the whale. And that's how Jay thinks of him. And we see a lot of reconciliation in this process as Jay tries to survive and makes peace with himself and his father and the whale. And that's a big part of what happens. Now, I mentioned the PSI is the way that the general book is settled, is kind of structured. There's this line in this book, and which I thought was perfect. The line is from page 279. The infinite inside the infinitesimal. So much can happen in this book because it is the thought process of Jay. And it fills out more than 330 pages because we're able to fit all that Jay's thinking and what Jay has experienced and Jay's transformation in what could be the blink of an eye. How do we know how quickly Jay becomes aware of all this? We don't. We don't know how much time it took. All we know is how quickly his air was depleted, and that gives us a general time frame or a general idea of where we are in the process. We know that we're going towards zero. We know when we get to zero, it's going to be very bad for Jay. And there's a lot of really rough stuff going on with Jay's body inside this whale. The whale's not the bad guy. But this really highlights, I think, so much can happen in so little time, and it really drives home that we're all related. We're all a part of each other. We're all responsible for ourselves and the way we interact with people around us, with the world around us. Not just with people, but with all of nature. There are regrets that Mitt has, post-death Mitt. There are definitely regrets that Jay has, pre-death Jay. And there's a lot of symbolism in things eating things, how everything's a part of everything else, and just Jay getting it by the end. And I love it. 5 stars. I give it 5 stars. So, the book is amazing. Now, as a sperm whale fan, I gotta say that Daniel did his research. He's read a number of the books that are on my bookshelves, and then some that aren't. He has consulted with a number of people that are experts in cetacean studies, including Hal Whitehead. I have a couple books by Al Whitehead on my shelves, probably here and here, maybe. So he's definitely done his research, and it really shows, but not in a distracting way. He goes out of his way to explain why certain things may be happening and why certain things aren't happening, and it's really helpful for the story. For instance, he talks about really the size of the throat of a baleen whale and how baleen whales are generally eating very small food. Krill, tiny food. Lots of it, but tiny. So the throat quickly narrows to the size of a can. And really, the only large whale that could consume a person outside of an orca, which do show up in this, the assholes of the sea in my mind, is a sperm whale. There are stories throughout history of sperm whales eating people, and reading any number of books related to sperm whales, you'll hear those, including, I think Moby Dick brings it up too. But there are stories. It's not pretty. And does Moby Dick? Or is it a book that I read about Moby Dick? Now I can't remember. Probably a book I read about Moby Dick. Maybe Ahab's Rolling Sea brings it up. But Daniel goes deeper into what that question looks like, what that would do to the body, and it's not pretty. I love how detailed he was with the facts of sperm whale life. The sperm whale eats our main character, but the sperm whale is not the villain. The sperm whale did something it didn't want to do. The sperm whale is an old bull. He's nearing death. And this is explaining some of that process, which is related to how Mitt died. And it's spot on with a lot of the sperm whale information. Now, there's a lot unknown about sperm whales. And I think Daniel admits to it, even in the acknowledgments, taking some license with some of the facts to drive the narrative, which is understandable. So, and it's not stuff that's irrefutable. It's just stuff that is probably more than humans have gotten to experience and lived. So I give the whale aspect of this A+. Like, it really, he gets it. He gets the sperm whales. He gets the environment. He gets the relationship between sperm whales and other sperm whales, the relationship between sperm whales and orcas, the relationship between sperm whales and their prey. Just well done. As a father, this is what I did not expect. There is so much discussion in there about the relationships between parents and their kids, specifically Mitt and Jay, but also Mitt and his, or Jay and his mom, and Jay's mom and Jay's dad. And there's this scene where Jay was remembering being born or early on in his life, a week or two or something, and his dad holding him and crying and just saying, "I hope I don't screw you up." And in that scene, everything's reversed. In most of this book, Jay is speaking and the whale / Mitt are responding in his mind. In this chapter, in this scene, Mitt is speaking and Jay is responding in his mind. And it just shows you the cyclical aspect of life and parents and kids. And anybody who has kids has had that thought, I really don't want to screw up this kid. And there is so much doubt in what you're doing every day. Did I do the right thing? Did I say the right thing? Did I screw this up? Did I not screw this up? As a parent, that you can really identify with that part of this book. Now, Mitt screws some stuff up. Mitt does not need to doubt that he did not approach his son the right way over 17 years. There are things he did right. The only reason that Jay survives is because of the information that Mitt passed on. But Mitt didn't have the full picture of what he needed to do to be a loving, open father. But by the end, dead Mitt is fulfilling that. He is providing Jay with the comfort and the information. He's listening, and he's responding to Jay in the way Jay needs. So it does come full circle, I guess. But through a lot of his life, Mitt didn't do it the right way. He provided the information, but maybe he wasn't as loving or accepting. And Mitt has regrets about that. And so does Jay. And Jay has regrets on the way he interacted with his father. What Jay figures out is that everything wasn't bad with his parents. That over the years, he may be kind of coloring that way when he thinks back, but there are all these nice memories that he has that he's kind of ignored, that when he really takes time to reflect, he remembers it wasn't all bad. His dad did some things right. And by the end, Jay's done the right thing honoring his father, and Mitt's done the right thing loving and accepting his son. And they've both saved each other, and they're both connected. And that Jay figures out that while he didn't find the bones of his father, what he brought back is the remains of his father, him. I did not expect the book to go there. I did not expect the book to have this deeper theme to it. And it was amazing. So Daniel Kraus, awesome job, 5 stars. Whale aspects, great. The parental stuff, tough, deep. And just the overall book, amazing. I don't know if things will change because it's a arc. I don't get arcs. I bought this one. I didn't know that you weren't supposed to do that until I got the arc. And it has this whole thing about, do not quote this publication until verify the finished book at the publication date. Blah, 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 blah. So somebody's not doing it right. Somebody sold this when they weren't supposed to. I bought it. It's something I wanted. I was going to do a review for. And I was really surprised at how much I liked it and how much research and credibility is in this book related to whales, sperm whales specifically, because there are certainly authors out there who could take man eaten by whale story and make it a horror story. And this wasn't that. This is a story about life, about disappointment, and betrayal, and reconciliation, and rebirth. So I liked it. Whalefall. It comes out August 8th, 2023. August 8th, 2023. In the end, the dirty CGs were not bad guys. Thank you. In the end, we get some closure, and so does Jay's family, which is great. Just enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. And find a greater respect for sperm whales specifically, but the way that sperm whales can be used in stories to build something even bigger and save the whales. Thanks. Bye.
It's a cold, dark morning. I walk out to greet the dawn. There's a northern wind blowing, for the one I loved has gone. She left this world a wild one, though I begged her please to stay. So I'll just go down to the river, wash my sorrows all away.